What's up, everybody? This is Ralph Amsden, co-host of the Seton Rivals podcast. We're about to be joined by Brett Quintyne and Chilly to talk about last week's action in Chandler area football. But before I do that, just a reminder that the Seton Rivals podcast is brought to you by ArizonaVarsity.com, the Rivals affiliate site covering all Arizona high school football and basketball in the state of Arizona. You can support us by becoming a subscriber. Just jump on to ArizonaVarsity.com, and if you're not already a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. It costs about $8.33 a month to support all that we do. Subscribing to Arizona Varsity helps us bring you content just like what you're about to listen to. We are also part of the ArizonaSportsCast.com podcast network. ArizonaSportsCast.com hosts podcasts covering Chandler area football, like you're about to listen to with the Seton Rivals podcast, as well as high school sports from around the state, the Arizona State Sun Devils, the Phoenix Suns, and Arizona Cardinals. So if you could go ahead and search for Arizona Sportscast on iTunes, become a subscriber, leave a review, that would be fantastic. Without further ado, let's get you to this week's episode of the Seton Rivals podcast.
Play is here. It's crazy to think that some teams have just 3 games left in the 2019 regular season. It's been a while since we've seen this many of our area schools take a tumble in the same week. Just 1 win and 5 losses combined for the teams that saw action. Who will rebound? Hopefully all of them, but time will tell. Let's dive in. As always, I'm joined by my guys, Ralph Amsden and Chilly, and we talk solid football across the board at the 3, 4, 5, and 6A levels. We'll begin with the Valley Christian Trojans. They fall for the second time this year. Yuma Catholic, the Shamrocks, they beat them 54-28. High-scoring game early on as they were tied at 14 after 1 quarter and down 35-28 at the half. Chilly, their 7-game home winning streak is snapped, and it's tough to get that W when you're shut out in the second half.
I mean, it's tough. This is how you build championship teams, though, is you got to lose a couple, you got to take some lumps. And I don't think that anybody really saw this kid, this running back from Yuma Catholic, Jamar McFarland, coming in and dumping 300 yards on Valley Christian. Valley Christian, they just got to put it together. They lost one. Guess what? They lost another. It's called a losing streak, and now it's time to get back to winning. They get having seen Jamar McFarland, I think is a perfect way to set up this meeting with Odyssey Institute and their superstar running back, Chris Weaver. So, there's no better way to prepare for one thing than kind of seeing it the week before. You took your lumps, and now it's time to grab some Timber Burgers, fire them up, and, get back to work and go eat.
And our own Ralph Amsden was able to catch up with the head coach, Kirk Sundberg.
Ralph Amsden, Seton Rivals podcast. We got Kirk Sundberg on the show today, Valley Christian Trojans head coach. How you doing, Coach?
Hey, good, man. How are you, Ralph? Thanks for having me on.
Not bad. So I got a chance to come out to Valley Christian, watch the second half, had a tough game against Yuma Catholic this last week, but it really feels like the kids are starting to grasp what it is that you set out to do when you came out. What do you feel like the transition's been like into this year and what you've been able to accomplish so far?
Yeah, I think you're right on. The kids are starting to pick it up. It's a slow process. It's kind of funny. Last year, we were desperate for confidence. The kids were they didn't know if they could do it. And so last year's seniors they were so hungry that they took charge and they worked their tails off because they wanted to experience success before they graduated. And we're kind of in this funny middle ground right now. We're not an established program. We're not one of the top programs in 3A, that we're not a Northwest Christian or a Yuma Catholic, or there's so many really storied, traditional, really good programs, and we want to be there someday. But our kids are talented, and we're capable of having some success. But the transition that you mentioned is the kids are now starting to believe, but they don't quite fully believe yet. And so it's just a daily process of showing up and helping them recommit to working hard and doing the little things. And over time, right, it's going to be a matter of a few years, and then we'll sort of hopefully get to that place where we're established and the guys know what the expectations are. So definitely taking steps in the right direction, but you can't just get there overnight, right? So it's been fun to be in the middle of that with the guys.
Now, I mean, do you feel like it's a little bit of a pendulum? Like you believe your own press a little bit, and then you lose confidence, and it's just a matter of trying to make sure that they don't have too many highs and lows, and that they stay humble and hungry, but understand what they're capable of.
Oh, 100%. That you hit it right on the head. It's the kids wanna believe that they're good, and they wanna think that they're good. But getting a group of 15 to 17-year-olds to cast aside the distractions and the hype, and actually quietly and consistently work towards being good. That's the challenge. Everyone wants to wear the jersey and walk the halls and be a part of a quote-unquote winning football team, but no one wants to show up on a Tuesday afternoon after they just took a biology test and work their tail off in the heat, right? So it's still just that. I think you hit it right. It's about staying steady. We're still a little too up and down right now.
I talked to Justin Stinson, your super talented defensive back, after the loss against Seton Catholic, and he said, he's just like, man, it was kind of shocking for us to go out there and for them to have Jamar McFarland and Ian Chavez. They weren't necessarily things that the film would have prepared you for, but he felt like as the game went on, the toughness increased and the team sort of stepped up to meet that challenge, at least on the defensive side of the ball. Tell me a little bit just about that game and them unleashing one of Yuma's best running backs who had transferred into their school and sat out until they played you.
Yeah, it was an interesting game. You know that Yuma Catholic's always going to be talented. I mean, it's kind of funny the storyline that's not even getting talked about a ton right now, and I guess rightfully so, but you still got Gage Reese slinging the ball, right? So it's, what they're going to bring in terms of athleticism, their passing scheme. Coach Stallworth does they do so many good things that really stress you. Those are the things that we were having to prepare for. Ian Chavez, honestly, if he would have been able to stay healthy, I felt like he was a potential 3A Player of the Year candidate, off of last year, what he did. And so just really a bummer for that kid to get hurt against Northwest Christian. And I think he's still maybe a little bit banged up, but, played really well against us. And so you got him, taking a couple weeks off, and so not having a ton of film. And then he came back, and then obviously McFarland, we had just a couple clips of what to expect, and there's just no way to prepare. Honestly, to be honest with you, Ralph, even if we had film, I don't know how you prepare for that. We don't have anyone on our team that can simulate that in practice. So you can work on tackling and rallying to the football and doing different things, but that kid's special. And so, I think all of that, we still got to show up and play, right? I mean, that was our message to our guys is the bottom line is we've got to show up, we've got to tackle who they put on the field. We're a talented football team, and we didn't show as well as we could have against Yuma. And I think one of the things was our guys saw that, and they weren't mentally prepared for the battle, and that's on us as a coaching staff. That's on our guys. We've got to be prepared for anything, and that just wasn't the case. So we took them on the chin.
I feel like I could talk to you about this for an hour and a half. I want to respect your time, though. But, I mean, after the game, you told the kids – well, first of all, you did something that I really, really appreciate. And something I try to do with my kids all the time was just to reiterate, like, hey, there's reasons we tell you the things that we tell you. Do you understand them a little bit better now? You're being stern, but you're not out there yelling at them or anything. And then you tell them, like, hey, this is adversity. I'm in it with you. I would rather be nowhere else. So here we are. What are we going to do about it? And then you told them, like, this is going to sting and you have to lean into that. And I've been thinking on that for the last few days of just, there are a lot of coaches out there who maybe mirror some of my other parenting style, which is to just get frustrated and let them know, like, hey, you guys fell short, do better. I told you, and to have some resentment there. And it really felt like in your message to your team, there was no resentment. There was just, an opportunity to teach. And, I just wondered if you could expand on that a little bit more of, why you take that approach with your team and what advantages you see from it.
Yeah, well, I'm humbled. I'm glad that that's how you felt. I think I try to give our kids the benefit of the doubt, that they're doing the best that they can, and it's my responsibility as the coach to channel that into the most appropriate ways and to help whatever effort they bring to pull more out and to put it into the right places. And so if they're bringing their best and they don't get the job done, then I need to look at myself first to see how I can reshape what I'm doing. And I guess as far as resentment or getting frustrated, I mean, sure, I was frustrated. I mean, I don't think this is an arrogant thing to say. I would argue that no one spent more time getting ready for that game than I did. I put our process up against anyone's, and so if anyone has right to say, to get frustrated, I think that could be me or our coaching staff, but it's not about us. It's about our kids. It's about their high school football experience, and really, ultimately, it's about them for the rest of their lives, not just this season. And so, do I wish that we could win every one of our football games? Yes, absolutely. But I know from my own personal experience that the greatest moments of character growth and formation come from the setbacks, the frustrations, and the losses. And so if I didn't model that perspective in the midst of the losses, then I'm really not doing my job appropriately as a former of the men on my team and their character and their hearts. And so I want to be careful to capitalize on the opportunities, both good and bad. Definitely screw that up all the time, don't always do it right. But one of the challenges that we have as competitors is to desperately desire and work for winning, but at the same time sitting with losing because we know that our identity is not wrapped up in the result of the game. And there's a fine balance to walk there, because if you let yourself off the hook and say, oh, my identity's not in this game, so it's okay that we lost, that's not what we're talking about. There's a fine balance to walk there, and it's really good to help our kids try to realize what that means.
Yeah, you really have to live in the tension of knowing that it's almost like a testing grace type issue, right? Like you just have to live in that tension of knowing that you have to do your best. And that even if you don't, like, there is a tomorrow, but don't rely on that tomorrow because you got to do your best.
Yeah, no doubt. There's not really many things in society where kids can try their absolute best and still fail. If they try hard in our school system, if they try as hard as they can in our school system, they'll pass their classes. If they try as hard as they can in their jobs, they'll get paid. There's just, our society doesn't teach kids how to fail. But in sports, they can try as hard as they can and still fail. And it's a really good opportunity for us as adults to teach them how to navigate that.
I love that. And like I said, we could talk forever on it, but I want to get to one last question. A couple of your players really stand out to me. Vinny Legata is just like a Swiss Army knife, multi-talented, super useful on both sides of the ball. Justin Stinson physically, is probably one of the most impressive kids in all of 3A. You've got quite a few other players who have done some great things this year. I was just wondering if you could maybe give mention to a few of the players that you feel like are really putting in work or are flashing some talent this year that deserve some extra praise.
Yes, absolutely. The number one guy that comes to my mind is Jalen Collins, whose name you may never read in a headline. He's our starting left tackle and defensive end. Kid might weigh 180 pounds, but he works harder than any high school football player I've ever been around, and has the character to match. He's one of our team captains, and he just, to play on both sides of the ball as much as he does at the line of scrimmage is really remarkable. So he's been doing a really, really good job. Another unheralded guy who's doing a great job for us on both sides of the ball is Shane Hugsma as a receiver and defensive back. He's also a basketball standout at our school, and he's been doing some really good things kind of under the radar. We've got a sophomore running back and a junior running back, Caden Majerzik and Tony Gomez, that are just a kind of a really fun 1-2 punch. And then those guys, they complement each other well. They support each other, and they're doing some really good things. So just lots of guys making positive contributions. But those guys, man, their attitude's on point. Their work ethic is there. They're selfless, and it's been really fun to coach them.
All right. Well, hey, Coach, I really appreciate your time and look forward to seeing where you take the rest of this season.
Awesome. Thanks so much for the time, Ralph. I appreciate it.
And Chilly, as you mentioned, 4 wins and 2 losses for the VC Trojans. They do head to Buckeye this week and take on Chris Weaver, the Odyssey Institute Minotaur. They are 5-1. The Seton Catholic Sentinels, they're now 4-2 on the year. They were dominated by Marcos Deniza 26-6. Tough game against the Padres for Pete Walheim's club as they managed just a single fourth-quarter touchdown pass thrown by Josh Hansel.
Josh Hansel's an absolute stud, and we are looking for somebody to open things up for Mikey Castro and help him out a little bit and carry some of this load. I think that none of us really expected Seton to lose to Marcos by 20,
right?
Which is crazy. But at the beginning of the season, I said that this region is a lot tougher than it's been in the past. You got Mesquite, you got Arcadia, you got Saguaro, and Marcos is coming up too. Eric Lauer's doing a hell of a job coaching, and that running back over there, Yaquin the Dream Bayless, he's like Marcos's all-time leading rusher. I spotlighted that matchup between Mikey Castro and Yaquin on my two-piece. Check it out every Tuesday night. So it's not going to get easier. This flame-throwing Arcadia team that likes to throw the ball all over the field, they're going to be coming to town. They're making their way to Chandler, and they want to see what's up. They want some of the Mikey Castro show. They want to see what Coach Walheim has in store. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great game.
Indeed, the Sentinels had their work cut out for them this week as Kerry Taylor's team, 5 wins and 2 losses. The Arizona College Prep Knights, they had the week off, but that certainly doesn't stop us from talking about them. Head Coach Myron Blueford's team is off to a 5-1 start on the year, and I was able to catch up with the head coach. Head Coach Myron Blueford, and before we get into any one-loss record or anything of that nature, as I stand here, we're on the practice field at ACP, you've built something just very, very special. I mean, a few years ago, you guys were scratching to win 1 game, and now you guys are knocking on the door of something big.
Yeah, it's a blessing. I mean, I was applying for all kinds of jobs when I started to get into coaching, and didn't know much about the school, and I recruited from PC, and so I knew most of the high schools and didn't know anything about ACP, and they gave me the opportunity, and I got to build something from scratch. I didn't have to worry about changing anyone else's culture. I kind of did everything exactly the way I wanted to, and it's tough at first because you're trying to build it from the ground up, and you're focused on the the family aspect of it and building discipline, and so you didn't see the wins right away. So you kind of question yourself, and am I doing it the right way? And so now that we're 3 years into this and it's kind of come to fruition, it just kind of justifies everything I've done thus far.
5 wins and 1 loss, solid season so far. Still a lot of work yet to be done, but you don't get to 5-1 without some consistency. You guys have been hanging up some donuts, as we like to say, defensively, certainly scoring points. It's a nice mix. Just talk about the flow of the on-field play this year.
Yeah, it's been awesome because we've just been so balanced, and it makes it a lot easier in regards to how I call plays and how we do things on defense. We're about 50-50 split on our rushing and passing yards, so it makes it fun to kind of game plan week to week, and makes it very difficult to play us. And it's not something we kind of knew going into it. We really didn't know what we were going to have, and I don't think any coach knows. They can guess and anticipate based on what they have coming back and what they put in, but we really just didn't know. And as we kind of got into week 2, week 3, we kind of saw we're a really tough defense and a very balanced offense, which makes it really difficult to play against us.
Do you have kids on both sides of the ball who go both ways?
Not a lot. Bryan Dyson does play both. He started week 3, started playing both ways, and he's just a phenomenal athlete. It gives us a lot. He plays safety for us, so he's not really in the action, but he's so fast and physical. Kind of helps erase some of the mistakes that we make from play to play. Then obviously on offense, he's a first team All-State receiver. So he's really the only one. Everyone else is for the most part on one side or the other, which makes it a lot easier too as far as depth and making sure that we're attrition-wise we're lasting throughout the season.
From a running game standpoint, you guys have one of the best around. His name is Richard Williams. Just tell us what he brings to the table besides a lot of yards.
Yeah, he's a great kid. You never know when kids transfer in. You don't know personality-wise, especially at a school like this, where it's high academic and kids are super focused on where they're going to go to school school regardless of athletics. So it was kind of refreshing getting him and just finding out that he's just a great kid. The kids bought into him, and any coach will tell you if your kids like each other, they're going to play really hard for each other, and that's a huge attribute to how many yards he's rushed for, is that everyone is kind of just blocking for him because they love him, and we're passing better because of him. So it's kind of just a great mix.
We're standing on your practice field, which is not really your home field. What's it been like for the last couple of years playing your home games at various other CUSD locations?
It's a challenge, but it's one that we're kind of willing to accept. We started off playing at Anderson, and it was less than an ideal situation, and then got kind of upgraded, so to speak, using all the CUSD fields, which honestly are the best natural fields in the state. So it's a little bit of a challenge, kind of bouncing around and trying to figure out the logistics of all of it. But we're steadfast in telling our boys that it's football. So if we got to play in a dirt lot, we're just going to play. And so that they kind of taking that mentality, and then they're pleasantly surprised when they play on some nice grass.
Last but not least, this Friday you guys have a nice long road trip up to Surprise to take on Paradise Honors. Early scouting report on that team?
They're a tough team. Number 48, their running back, he's a 2,000-yard rusher from last year. I do know that we are better than we were last year, and we were pretty effective at stopping them last year. So I'm excited about that. It's really just can we tackle and can we be efficient on offense? We've yet, which is scary to say, we've yet to play our best game. We've left a lot on the field, both offensively and defensively. So we're preparing, and we want to make this one of those games. That's where they've been challenged, is not necessarily let's beat Paradise Honors, but let's just get better and play our perfect game.
Coach Blueford, keep it up.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And Richard Williams, he is a running back who has just dominated over 1,000 yards on the ground already, along with 12 touchdowns. He is totally enjoying his time with the ACP Knights. Richard Williams, honestly, one of the better running backs that we're going to see all year. I'm joined by him before ACP practice. Well, Richard, I'll say just you guys are off to a 5-1 start, and just tell us about your teammates and what's been going on this year.
Well, I just transferred into ACP this year, so I don't know really much about their background, but from what I see, mostly the seniors and juniors, they've been putting in a lot of work. They've been doing good, so you're starting to see the efforts that they put in, what's coming out of it. So.
Speaking of effort, you obviously put forth a strong effort week in and week out, and it's showing from the statistics. Tell us about your offensive line. I know you want to give them a little bit of props and just talk about how the offense has been clicking both through air and on the ground.
So on the ground, our offensive line is really young. We have one senior. The rest are mostly sophomores. So they still have a lot of room to grow and stuff. So I'll be with them this year and next year, and then they'll still be here another year. They're going to be monsters their senior year. I want to see that. And then in the air, we have Bryan Dyson, explosive player every time he gets the ball. Dawson Molsong, he's another senior. He's a pretty explosive player. He's been doing good. And then we have our younger player, Bryce Chen. He's really good too, slot receiver. So it's nice to see them.
You guys actually don't have technically a home field on Friday nights. How's it been essentially playing a road game week in and week out?
It's not really that different. It's just a routine for us since, we don't really have a home field. We're traveling every week, so we're kind of used to it. It's nothing new.
Coach Blueford, tell us about him from a demanding standpoint, laid back. Just tell us about his coaching style.
He's just a chill coach all around. There's his moments where he gets serious, but he plays around. He keeps a balance and stuff. He's just a great coach overall.
Outstanding. Thank you so much. Have a great game on Friday.
All right. Thank you. You too.
And then, of course, we have talked all about this past week and even the past few days in Chile, even before we hear from that solid quarterback to wide receiver combination, Chavez to Dyson. Just tell us kind of what that whole offense has brought.
I mean, it's been exciting this year. I mean, they've scored 209 points. They've scored over 200 points. That's absolutely amazing. So far, what has it been? 6 games for them? I don't think that they were even close to at this point last year.
No.
And they've only given up 73. They haven't even given up 100 points yet.
Right, couple shutouts.
Yeah, they're on a 4-game winning streak. Got the Blue Crew looking right out there in Chandler, and it's exciting. I'm happy for them. I want to see what they have to offer, and also I need a shirt like they gave to Cody T. Cameron, and maybe I can take the vlog out there one of these days.
Mark Chavez is the guy under center. We were able to catch up with him before practice. quarterback Mark Chavez of the ACP Knights says, I get a hold of him a little bit right before practice. And Mark, just kind of tell us how good the season's been going. You guys are off to a 5-1 start. You guys are clicking. Just kind of walk us through the first 6 games.
Yeah, so first game, we come out against our rival, Chandler Prep, and we were preparing for them. You know, we lost previous 2 years, you know, big game for us. We come out, we prepare for them big in that, you know, weeks leading up to the first game, and we beat them. It was a good statement win for our program. And we come back 2 weeks later, and then we beat Odyssey, and that was our big win. That was our big win.
Defense stepped up, too, to hold the running back down a little bit.
Yes, they did. Chris Weaver, great back. Our defense played a huge game in that, you know, helping us to win that game.
You guys have had a bye. What has been able to take it easy a little bit on your bye week? Obviously, your mind is always on football, but it's nice to be able to rest the bumps and bruises.
Yeah, we had, you know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we still have morning lifts in the morning, still getting after it, still trying to put on that extra muscle, you know, even the bye week, still grinding. But it was definitely nice to relax from that, you know, hitting, constant hitting, so it was nice to relax from that.
You've been here from, I'm going to say, the start. Obviously, you're a junior now. You were there when you guys played home games at Anderson Junior High School and things of that nature. It must be nice to see this team really form, winning some games, and just overall the positive culture here at ACP.
Yeah, you know, definitely just coming from Anderson Junior High, you know, that wasn't the best season we had, opening season, but, you know, seeing the program develop, you know, all these young players, we were freshmen, sophomores, and just seeing all of us develop, now we're juniors, seniors, and how we developed the program to what it is now, just really great for our program.
And tell us about your receivers. We know about Bryan Dyson, obviously one of your main targets, but who are some of the other guys you sling the ball around to?
Oh, most definitely. So I like to think our receiving core, I mean, we got a 3-headed, 4-headed snake. We got Dawson Molsong, he's our outside receiver, you know, 6'1". He was a good target for me. He put in a lot of work this offseason, gained about, you know, 15 pounds, I'd say. And he's a good target on the outside. Likes to come inside, catch some slants. Our Y, inside slot receiver, Bryce Chen, he's a sophomore right now. He's a great, fast agility, runs great routes, great hands.
He had a big game a couple weeks ago.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. I mean, he's catching everything that's thrown his way. Great receiver all around. And then our H, Chadwick, he's doing good. He helps with our run game as well, lead block for a lot, and, you know, get him on a whip route once in a while.
Keep up being a great leader that you are.
Thank you, thank you.
And his favorite receiver is Bryan Dyson. Both of those guys are juniors, and they have formed an outstanding connection. Bryan Dyson, one of the main receivers for the Arizona College Prep Knights. Bryan, as I pull you away from practice for a couple of brief minutes, just tell us about how the season's been going. You guys are piling on some victories, and the offense is clicking nicely.
Yes, sir. The offense has been doing really good with the new addition with Richie Williams. Great running back for 3A. I think he's been doing really good this year. Our offensive line stepped up a lot. They've been doing really good down in the trenches. Mark's gotten way better than he was last year. He can throw, he can run. He's been doing a lot better in reads and everything. And our receivers have really stepped up. We've caught almost everything thrown in our direction, but we do drop sometimes. But other than that, I think we've been doing really good.
Absolutely. Your connection with Mark Chavez, you guys are both juniors, so you've known him a while. Tell us about kind of the camaraderie, whether it's on or off the field.
Me and Mark we're really good friends. We hang out a lot during school, not as much out of school because we do a lot of other stuff. But other than that, in school, me and him, we talk a lot about the games, what we've been doing. We sit on the buses and we talk about what we're going to do on the way up there and just stuff like that. We hang out a lot and we're good friends.
As a junior, you've been here from the, I'm going to say the days of old, but now you guys are winning some games. You guys are rolling pretty good. Just kind of tell us about, I'm going to say it must be very rewarding. When you were a freshman, you guys were not that good, but now you guys are quite talked about a bit.
Yes, sir. It feels a lot better, and it's very rewarding to see all the work we've been putting in through these last 3 years to finally have paid off, and we've just been working and grinding every day for the last 3 years out here, and it feels really good to have some success on that now.
And success always comes from a solid coach. Obviously, Head Coach Myron Blueford, very solid. One word that was used to describe him was chill. How would you describe him?
He is very chill, but he can be stern when he needs to be. But other than that, yeah, I love him as a coach. You can talk to him pretty much about anything you want, and he'll give you a straight answer for it. So, yeah.
Keep up the great work. Road game out in Surprise this week as they take on Paradise Honors. The Panthers check in at 2-4. The Casteel Colts, they have now lost back-to-back games after losing to the Higley Knights 31-22. Chilly, I'd like to see them get a bit better on the defensive side of the ball. 31 points allowed this past week, 42 the week before. We know Higley comes to play each and every week, but hopefully the Colts get back to their winning ways.
Yeah, I think they'll be okay against Gilbert. I think they'll be able to neutralize some of what Gilbert does, having now seen Higley and having played Williamsfield. Now I think that's really the meat of that region. Gilbert's tough with Will Plummer and Tyler Hironaka, but man, I just can't see Casteel going on a skid that lasts 3 or 4 games. So I think they get right versus Gilbert, probably play a close one. Card, Sicarios, all those kids, they got to tighten up on defense a little bit. They got to find a way to get to Will Plummer, and I think they'll be all right. And then obviously the offense is the offense. I mean, you would think that 22, 27 points would be enough to win games in this region, but sometimes it's not, because Williamsfield with their high-powered backfield and then Higley with their high-powered quarterback, they're a little bit different. But we'll see. Hopefully, like I said, Card, Sicarios can do their job and, get to Will Plummer, neutralize him, and they can escape with a victory.
And the Colts indeed have the week off to regroup before they do indeed finish out that grueling Santan region schedule. The Basher Bears, they were off this week, and they'll open up Premier Region play with a road game at Hamilton. The Huskies, they lost their region opener to the Brophy Broncos 27-14. They're now 6-1. So for the Huskies, just very simply, that running game that we like so much for Hamilton never got untracked.
Yeah, Brophy very, very disciplined, very, very tough in the trenches. I want to say that I'm disappointed, but I think Hamilton and Brophy, they're two teams that are kind of back. They had their little rivalry thing going on way back in the day. Mm-hmm. It's exciting, Two 6-0 teams. They go head to head. Somebody's got to lose.
Right.
And, this time it was Hamilton. Next time it might be Brophy. And, we're going to see... We're going to see how Hamilton rebounds after loss now. I know I've said for weeks that Hamilton's back. I do believe that. I don't think that they need to go back to winning championships and 53-game winning streaks in order to prove that they're back. The culture's back.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they just have to be competitive, go a couple rounds, and play baby steps. As
right. And they're coming back from the bottom up. Dude, the freshman team is absolutely phenomenal. I think they've given up 1 or 2 touchdowns.
I think 7 points.
Yeah, in the first 7 games.
I
think it's first.
Is it
7 games?
If the varsity's played 7, that means the freshmen's played probably 6.
Okay, so yeah. I mean, whatever the case, the freshman group over there, the 2023s, are super talented, and you can see that because they got some of them up on the varsity level competing. And this is a team that was in the open. So Wyatt Milkovic, Cole Martin, Chandler Davis, these kids, they're making contributions to a very, very tough Hamilton team. This isn't Hamilton that's 2-5 at this point. This is Hamilton that's 6-1 now. So I mean, for Nick Arve and Brendan Rice and Jeremiah Trojan and Finn Leckie and all these guys to bring them in and absorb them and let this work. Because think about it, back in the day, when was the last time we talked about Hamilton having freshmen playing at the varsity level?
They really didn't. I mean, it was very, very far and few between. So yeah, we'll see what the Huskies can do. The 3-time defending state champion Chandler Wolves, well, they rolled the Perry Pumas 84-49, 642 rushing yards, and truthfully, we could stop right there. But we like to roll off some stats. 3 guys went over 100 yards, with one of them, Day Hunter, gaining 263. Mikey Keene at the controls under center, 9 of 11 for 2 bills. 10 in a row for the Wolves over Perry. 19 straight wins overall. And Chilly, I can say this, 84 points. Most I've ever seen by one team in a high school game. There was talk on the sideline, and it wasn't even about so much running up the score. It's would it be crazy if we saw 91? I mean, that would be just nuts. And I mean, in the end, the better team won. There's no doubt about that. Your thoughts?
642 rushing yards. Real quick, I want to shout out 3 of these kids that were injured and didn't play. Michael Lutu, the right tackle, Tevia Neher, the center, and Leo 2E2, the left guard.
Okay.
Those three were injured.
Right. So I'm even say stop right there for a minute because I think I might know where you're going. 642 rushing yards without 3 of your offensive linemen.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So now I got to show love to the starting 5 that paved the way literally for Eli Sanders, the tumbler, to go bananas, for day, all day Hunter to, go bananas and do what he does. Alex Castro at left tackle, Pedro Ramirez at left guard, Mason Winkleman at center, Nehemiah Magali at right guard, and Sione Hingano at right tackle. These 5 guys absolutely mauled, destroyed, and moved anything that was in front of them to make sure that their running backs got to where they needed to go, and that was an end zone. I don't imagine that, Chandler's just now hitting their stride, I think, and they are very, very open, ready. I think everybody's kind of got to take notice. I wouldn't be surprised if next week was Saguaro on bye, or this week was Saguaro on bye. A couple of those players take the opportunity to go check Chandler out, because I'm 98% sure that some of the Chandler kids went to check out Saguaro at Chaparral when Chandler had a bye.
Makes sense.
I mean, that's what you do. You want to scope out the competition. And Chandler's it. Chandler's the pinnacle. Chandler is Thanos. Chandler is the final enemy that you play at the last stage of whatever video game that you are into to win. They are loaded at running back. They are loaded on the line. They are fine at quarterback. They're loaded at receiver. They're tough on defense. Their linebackers are ridiculous. Their secondary is better than
most.
The only one that it's not better than is maybe Saguaro. And up front, their defensive line, they're getting healthier and better, and they're ready to go. Buckner is back, and I can't even say Chandler's back because they never win anything. They've been here for the past 5 years.
3 straight championships, 4 of the last 5.
So and one of them is arguable.
Right, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
This is...
This is a good Chandler team. That's Chandler. An understatement.
This is just Chandler doing Chandler things. Coach Garrettson's amazing. I can't remember the running back, Coach Richards?
Yeah, the running backs coach.
Coach Chick. There's so many more of them that are so phenomenal at what they do. But man, this line, they take this serious. Like, you talk about using 3 backups on an offensive line, and we're going to play the same people that we played in the state championship last year.
I just look at the last 3 times I've seen Chandler play. Friday night, they scored 84. Week 2, they scored 56 at Queen Creek. And obviously in the title game last year, they scored 65. That's crazy. That's over 200 points in 3 games.
That's insane.
That's a machine.
And they haven't even gotten Jaheim the Jet back yet. That's a breakaway outside threat at running back. And they got probably 6 running backs that are all D1 capable.
This is a loaded team, and next week they get I'm going to say a test in the fact that Brophy is fundamental. We'll see what Brophy can bring to the table. It's at Brophy, not that it makes a whole lot of difference, but you like seeing Chandler play top-notch competition, and this is great that this is the year that Brophy is 7-0 as opposed to previous years that they were 0-7 or 1-6.
Yeah, I think what Brophy is going to do. Jason Jewell's a genius. He's great at what he does. There's only one way to play against Chandler, and you gotta not beat them at what they do, but you're gonna have to replicate in some capacity what they do. You're gonna have to run the ball a little bit, and you are gonna have to bleed that clock.
I was gonna say you got to chew up a lot of clock.
That requires discipline, which Brophy has. I think that I don't think that we are gonna see I don't think that we're going to see a 50-7 pacing. I don't think that we're going to see something like 43 to 14. I think we're going to see something that's going to be maybe 28-7. Maybe Chandler can get up into the 35s. I think that we are going to see how disciplined Brophy is, and they're going to use that as a strength. They're going to use that as an advantage. Not that Chandler's not disciplined. Sure. But
Brophy's going to have to convert the 3rd and 3s consistently. Those types of plays.
Facts. So I think that they're going to be I think that Brophy's going to be okay, and Brophy's going to show the state a lot about, how to play against Chandler. Everybody wants to say that they can stick to their formula, they can keep doing what they're doing, and they can compete. The fact of the matter is you can't.
Correct.
You got to do something different. Coach Jewell, I think, is going to show us what that recipe really is.
Absolutely. And as we conclude the podcast, we'll just shoot over the rankings right quick. Chandler, as we said, they are certainly in the top spot in that elite/open division. And then you have Brophy, their opponent this week. They check in at number 8. And then Hamilton is at number 9. And then we can drop into the 6A ratings, and the Perry Pumas, they come in at number 9. And then, let's see, from a 5A standpoint, I believe Casteel was at number 14. So, of course, we're always going to see a bunch of playoff-bound teams. But, yeah, we're moving deeper into region play. It's always good to see, always good to kind of speculate some what-ifs, what needs to happen for certain teams. But otherwise, I think we brought it to you guys again. Got plenty of information on the Arizona College Prep Knights. We heard from Kirk Sundberg. We talked deep about, obviously, the Chandler Wolves. We mentioned what Casteel has to do to kind of get back to their winning ways. I'll be out at Seton Catholic this week as they host Arcadia. So we always like to keep the Chandler area schools covered, and we feel we do it quite well. He's Chilly. Ralph. I'm Brett. We're out.